This is the Black Powder Podcast, coming at you live and direct.
Your salty tears season my life. It's the Black Powder Podcast.
Yo, and once again, it's on. This is the Black Powder Podcast, the only real libertarian podcast that has ever existed in the history of mankind. I am one of your hosts tonight, Marcus Matthews, the only real libertarian, chairman of the Wu-Tang Clan caucus of the Libertarian Party. As usual, I'm joined by my brother in liberty, Eric Parker, Bold Liberty, out of the great state of North Carolina. How you doing this fine afternoon, evening?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm just happy to be here. You know what? This is some trying times that we're in, Eric, and I don't know if you've been paying attention to what's going on today, but the Dow isn't 50,000 today. Yeah. The Dow isn't at 50,000, and Pam Bondi got the boot, and I was just devastated because I think she was part of the reason it got to 50,000. So,
I gotta agree with you. I think she was doing such a great job. I think the Libertarian Party retweeted the news, and they said, "Turns out the Epstein files released Pam Bondi."
Oh,
instead of Pam Bondi releasing the Epstein files. So,
well, yeah. Oh my God,
that's some good news, right?
No, because the client list and the Epstein files, for all we know, are still on her desk right now.
Well, the next guy that relieves her in a month, he'll find him and be like, "What's this? Covered in dust. Blow the dust off." Oh my God, Trump.
Yeah, because there's a lot of libertarians out there that were kind of happy Trump won because they wanted, it was a lot of like I said, libertarians out there that wanted the Epstein files released, and they thought they were going to get them. So there was a lot of libertarians that voted for Trump for one. Well, I don't blame them.
A lot of them voted for him also because he said, no new wars, no regime change wars, no forever wars.
Hey,
here we are.
We're not going to start this show tonight by bashing our president. Okay, you can stop right there with that crap, buddy. Not open here
first. We're MAGA to the core. Hey, this isn't a sponsor, but shout out to y'all. Check these people out. Founding Fathers Distillery right here in High Point, North Carolina. Met this guy. It's a small shop. This is Flatbrook Ranch I'm sipping on, but I had to switch to beer because that's going down too smooth. You know what I mean? And I got to work tomorrow. So cheers.
So speaking of party and whatnot, today we're going inside the Libertarian Party and speak with who I like to call, some people push back on me for calling her a libertarian influencer. Why can't we as a Libertarian Party have our libertarian influencers? All the rest of the crappy ass Democrats and Republicans have their influencers. We're going to have a good libertarian influencer, and she goes by the name of Amity Dolby, and we'd like to welcome her to the show. Hold on. Welcome, Miss Dolby. How are you doing this fine evening?
Oh, I'm doing great, Marcus. It's such an amazing pleasure to be here with my favorite libertarian, Marcus Matthews, and Eric, who I beat on my first appearance of Are You Smarter Than a Politician?
Yeah, that was my second appearance, and don't worry, I lost the first time too, so you ain't that special. But
So that wasn't
come on,
an
I'm a
accomplishment.
4-time winner now.
well, yeah, all right. So
It was rigged.
Yeah,
not
I
rigged.
don't know. And
Right.
I said, like, in the episode I was on with you, I was kind of tired, so I didn't have that same level of energy. Even in the usually, look, I'm used to losing, but I'm usually got I guess a better attitude about it. Usually, was that episode? It was me and all women, though, right?
It was, yeah.
Like,
Sonia
what are they
Dora.
trying to say about me?
Wow.
Like, Eric and
You-
So we
you
do
got-
usually do Ladies of Liberty, but maybe you
Yeah,
were
and then-
third
and-
lady.
Wow.
Hey,
They've seen
we
the
should bring
pictures.
that back. Do a Ladies of Liberty and Eric episode. Like what?
So they've
That's
seen the
basically what it
pictures,
was.
Eric.
Mm-hmm.
The
boy.
Mr. Gnome
Well,
pictures.
for the
that Eric
record,
did.
Marcus found some revealing photos of me on the internet. It was pretty easy. It was public on my Facebook. But for the record, Marcus, I am a published swimsuit model in Void magazine. It's a magazine in Jack's Beach, a surfer magazine, but they do a springtime swimsuit issue. And I sent those pictures you make fun of to them as a joke. Like, hey, like they said, send us your pictures. We'd love to have people. And it was mostly women anyways in swimsuits. And then there's me, big chubby bearded guy. I did get a pair of swim shorts out of the deal though. So that's pretty cool. Look it up. Void magazine. I forget the year. I think 2019. It was before I ran for office. But yeah, published swimsuit model. Look it up.
So Amity already got 100 points. We're not doing that tonight.
We don't do that here.
You're not giving me points first. This is my damn show. All right.
We get points
I mean, it's
everywhere we
our-
go. It's so great.
Yeah. I mean, Eric, this is our damn show. Eric,
Yeah,
our
well,
DI high. And
yeah.
then Tub is going to be on in about 5 minutes. So we're going to
Maybe,
have
so-
our. No, he just
Have all
texted
the
me.
fun before he gets here. He's a party pooper.
Well, too late.
Oh,
Oh,
there it is.
darn.
I don't think I like the first thing that I heard, to be honest with you.
I love you, Tub.
You're welcome,
That's
Tub.
not what I heard. That's not what I
What'd
heard.
you hear? No.
I heard something along the lines of party pooper. That might not have been about me.
It
That
was
might
about
have
you.
been me.
It was about you, Tub.
All right.
Okay.
You
I'm
know
not
what?
going to lie to the pastor
Don't worry. Amity, how are you?
I'm great. I just had to turn my volume down for some reason, but
because I'm yelling.
No, because Tub
No,
is
Tub
loud.
was loud.
You people are loud, Tub.
Listen, you
Oh.
people is three of us. So you might want to be careful how you phrase that right now. We
Yeah,
I don't-
and two
Yeah, we
Floridians.
outnumber
sister.
you.
Yeah, Amity's a soul. All right, Amity. I was trying to wait. Hold on.
Oh,
How do
no.
I get? How do I get
Wait,
negative
Marcus
100
lost
points? I'm using
Oh,
my
no,
official.
Block
using
free
my
now. Just block
official-
him. Block him now.
I'm
We don't
using
even
my
need his,
official
we don't need
new
his kind
power.
around here.
on Amity this episode, so she's at a minus 900.
Listen, I would say she's minus 1,000 just for spending all that time with free.
That's true.
Hey, I get bonus points for that.
See,
So
you might deserve them for dealing with that. but-
we've kind of skipped over the intro. We can go back to it, or you know what I mean, like Amy
yeah.
herself. But I just want to ask you real quick, Amity, how are you enjoying being? I don't want to dox you here, but Florida's a big state. Being a Floridian now, or do you got to like be from there to be a Floridian, or either way? I don't know.
Nobody's from here.
I'm from there, and I live in North Carolina.
And you left.
Well, everyone I know is from somewhere else. So
Yeah.
in our neighborhood, and but most of them are all Yankees or from the Midwest or Chicago or whatever. But I'm a Southern girl from Virginia. But I love it here. It's paradise. It's gorgeous.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have mentioned Chicago because I don't know too many good people from Chicago. I mean,
I
it-
wouldn't have
Scottie
mentioned Yankee
Pippen.
the way
I'm
she
just
said
kidding, I
it,
don't
to
know.
be honest with you. Listen, I'm taking exception to the fact the way she said Yankee.
Well,
There's a lot more
That's
Yanks.
you.
Like, I
In
know.
the
That's what I'm
pre-
saying.
In the
Why did I come
pregame,
on?
we said you're a reformed Yankee. Are you reformed? Have you changed
Listen,
your ways?
I was told, was it day before yesterday, that I'm just one cheek full of snuff away from being a redneck.
There you
All right, so
I'm getting
And-
there.
in 1860, Tub, real quick, then we got to get back to Amity,
No,
our guest.
go.
In 1861, would your uniform would it have been blue or gray?
Well, yes. Yes.
And we're now
Oh,
back
boy.
to our
What
guest.
was
I've been in
this?
Virginia.
Wasn't-
Virginia's that middle area, kind of like. Oh,
I was going to say,
No, it's
wasn't there a
not.
state that just said we're not involved, leave us out? Was it like Tennessee or
No,
not
not
Tennessee?
them. Not that. for them.
Ohio.
It might
or
have been.
somebody was like, leave us alone.
Like I don't think Connecticut's going to take me back now. I think
Yeah.
I've kind of turned too far down that I don't think I'm welcome back anymore. Listen,
You can
a while
start
back
a free
I was carrying
state.
around 2 chickens in my backyard by their feet with their heads hanging down. I'm like, this is getting borderline. And then last Friday night I put a hog in the dirt. So I'm about done. They're not going to let me back.
No, you're done.
I'm
Okay,
done.
Eric.
Go ahead.
Eric,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
All right. So Amity, since we're 11 minutes past the intro, hey, nice to meet you. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks for coming on the show. Not real quick. Take as much time as you want, but could you kind of let everyone know who you are, how you came to think of yourself as a libertarian, and your path into the Libertarian Party, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. So I'm Amity Dolby, and I'm a national or lifetime member of the National Party, and I'm a member of LP Florida. I'm going to be a delegate at the National Convention in May. And when I was in my early 20s, I was a business owner, and, every part of government was taking way too much from me in taxes, from payroll tax to income tax to, property tax and everything else. And, I was just trying to feed my kids. Right. And so I was pissed at the government, like from the beginning. And then 9/11 happened, and, I'm glued to the TV with everyone else. And we go into Iraq and, kill Saddam Hussein, who had nothing to do with 9/11. And supposedly we were going to fight for our freedom or whatever. And so I just I kind of tied the two together. All these tax dollars are coming out of my pocket, and we're bombing all these places overseas that we can't even point to on a map. And, it really started my journey towards limited government and, not wanting the government involved. And then in 2008 and 2012, I was a fan of Ron Paul. I think a lot of us have a Ron Paul story. And, he famously said, basically blowback's a bitch, we're bombing all these people overseas. What do you think? We're growing terrorists ourselves because they're going to grow up to hate us. And I really think the Republican Party did him dirty. And, once they chose Mitt Romney over Ron Paul, I was just done. And so my sister was actually a libertarian already. And she's like, you really need to check out the libertarian platform. I think you're a libertarian too. And sure enough, I was. So it was 2013. I joined. I was part of my county affiliate. I was secretary there for a while. I helped campaign for Rob Sarvis, who ran for governor of Virginia, and then Senate, and a few congressional candidates until about 2016. I kind of dropped out of politics completely for a few years. And then when the abortion plank was removed from the platform I'm very pro-life, which I also believe means anti-war. But when the abortion plank was removed from the platform in 2022, I became active again and became a lifetime member of the party as kind of a thank you for removing that plank from the platform.
Yeah.
Tub-
So, well, I was going to say, and Tub can kind of, I guess, talk more towards this, but we kind of got involved around 2020 in the Libertarian Party of Florida. And going to conventions, I saw the table for the pro-life caucus at a lot of conventions. I'm pro-life as well. I think Tub is. I don't know. You know.
Yeah, I followed the camp a little bit.
But like I liked the way that caucus operates, and we could maybe dig into caucus wars later. But that's the kind of thing. Like, hey, look, they had an issue, a plank, and their whole goal. I don't know if their goal still is now. They want the party to add a pro-life plank to it, but removing this big political football from our bylaws, if you will, I think it's a smart move. And I don't go read the GOP's bylaws every convention they change them, but I'm pretty sure most of their stuff is about like loyalty to the party, which that could be a little weird too. But you get my point. Like, it's not necessarily about like these are the issues we agree and disagree on all the time, especially those. I mean, Democrats and Republicans agree on 90% of most things right now. You know what I mean? Like, if they put that in their bylaws, people would read them and be like, there's almost no difference between the two of you, at least the way they vote in Congress. You know what I mean? So, anyways, I just thought that was a little bit to add to the whole pro-life perspective of that, like the way the pro-life caucus accomplished removing that. Well, I think it was a great move for the party. Tub, you got anything? I don't know.
Well, first off, wasn't that when we were down in Miami when we had gone down to what you call it?
Yeah, it was either
Con.
Students for Liberty or Young Americans for Liberty.
Yeah, it was but hey, isn't there a motion or a movement, however they want to phrase it, I don't about putting that plank back into the platform now? Like this?
Yes. Yeah. So there were about 12 or 13 of us that showed up to the last platform committee meeting last week in the pro-life and the Christian caucuses. And our sole purpose for being there was to let them know, like, we don't want a plank back in. I mean, this is something that divides the party. Mm-hmm. You know, having it out of there completely means that the party doesn't have to take a position on it. And now that it's not a national issue anymore with Roe v. Wade being overturned, I don't think it's something that our national party has any business making a position on, because it's so polarizing to the party when, you know, we're so focused on smaller government that, you know, things that divide us, I think, are really pointless to try to add back in. So we definitely made our voices heard during that meeting last week.
I don't
was
think
there
that's...
any sorry, Tub, how many people showed up from the other side, or was there any pushback or anything?
No, so it was supposed to be on the agenda, or I don't know if it was supposed to be, but we thought that was the night that it was going to be discussed. And it turned out that they were discussing other planks. And so they ended up agreeing to let us all speak. For several of us spoke, and we had 10 minutes to speak and just let them know what our position was. Nobody showed up from the other side of it. I think there's some people on the platform committee that want to add something back in. But we just all showed up just in solidarity to let them know that there's a large group of us that, you know, this is going to be an issue. And we just don't think it's a good idea to, you know, we're trying to bring the party back together. The caucus wars have been horrible the last few years, and I'm just looking for common ground with everybody. I try not to get involved in caucus wars. I left the Mises Caucus after, I have no ill will, but I left the Mises Caucus after the 24 convention. And, you know, I just think anybody trying to push the needle towards liberty, we should be able to form coalitions with and get the work done.
Yeah, I don't know how putting that plank back in benefits the party. I don't think we gain anything out of it. Like I said, if nothing else, it just causes us to look inside and keep fighting inside even more. And so, like I said, with the kick back to the states now, we can kind of sit back on that one. It doesn't change what each individual feels about it. Like we're not telling, hey, you have to be on this side of it, but we're saying, hey, why we don't need to bring attention to more of our problems, if you will, the things that are dividing us. We can kind of let some of that go. But I think that I almost feel that inside the party there's this high level of we like strife. I think we like the problems. I think that we focus more effort in the party than we do outside of the party. And I think that's probably why we don't accomplish as much as we should have. And it's stuff like this. Like now that you know they're going to start arguing about this again. Now that they got a chance to bring this back up, they're going to find both sides are going to argue. But I often tell people, I say, listen, if you want to know what a libertarian believes, talk to that specific libertarian. Because we have a lot of freedom inside the party. And to me, that once you put something like that back in, you're just causing more issues again. And it keeps us off focus of what we should really be doing. Now, if I say that, and I pivot a little bit, if you say, hey, let's not put this in, what do you think is something that we should be focusing more attention on?
Smaller government. Everything we should be doing, I think, is to advocate for reducing the size and scope of government. I'm philosophically, I would say I'm an anarchist now. If you asked me a couple of years ago, I would have said I'm a minarchist, but you can't get from point A to point C without hitting point B. So, we don't live in a utopia. So any move of the needle towards that is a win, in my opinion.
So, but okay, now do me a favor, narrow that down. Take it, so like what specifically, like, because here's the thing, look what you just said, you can't get to C without getting B. So what would be what would be our B? What would be, okay, do this. This is a good next step for us getting to smaller government.
Yeah. And just to reword what Tubbs saying here is like, what steps could we take as a party to be effective in minimizing the scope of government?
Well, on a national level, I think both running candidates and getting our message out there are both beneficial. Of course, we're not going to win a national election anytime soon. The numbers just show that. I mean, I'm a realist, so I see that. But I think running candidates still has benefit because we're able to get on a broader scale our message of liberty out to people. Now, on a more local level, we have a lot of states who have a lot of libertarians in local office. And I think that's great. I mean, I like to focus on localism and, get people in office who are going to reduce our property taxes or reduce regulations or work on zoning laws that, don't benefit the people that live in the communities. So, just focusing on reducing the size of local government, I think, is a first step because we can be more effective in local charities and, with our churches and our community groups than the government is at anything they do. Everything the government touches is, goes to shit. So I just think we should focus locally if we want to win elections. And on a national level, I mean, a lot of us have really large platforms on social media, and we can just educate people and move them away from the duopoly, which, I mean, it feels like it's just one party now. I mean, Democrat or Republican, it just doesn't matter anymore. They're all big government spenders and just want to rule over our lives in different ways.
So,
okay. Real quick here, Tub. Me personally, I'm pro-life, but my problem is I don't want to be. I don't think government should be at your kitchen table, in your wallet, in your doctor's office, in your school, in your bank or whatever. I don't believe government should be any of those places. My problem is with this, in the post Roe v. Wade scenario that we have here now, it has. There's always unintended consequences to even something that may or may not be good, depending on how you stand on this issue. But it has given the government more power and more say-so in your doctor's office. And, there's certain ways the government is going to try to capitalize on that point And like I said, me personally, I am pro-life, but I have to step back from that a little bit because, like I said, the government never cedes power. Every time you give them another power over your life, they're going to compound that power tenfold in other ways and base it off of precedent. Do you fear this issue expanding upon the government's power in any way?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the government should not be involved at all. You know, I think if we take that to its logical conclusion, are we going to start prosecuting women? Are we going to have the government in doctors' offices trying to determine if a woman had a miscarriage or an abortion? I think we should get to the root causes of why women have abortions and address those, you know, on a personal level and through charity and community outreach through churches. And I think abortion will ultimately be limited if we address those root causes. And I don't mean from a government perspective. I think, like I said, everything the government touches is, you know, makes things worse. So I don't trust the government to legislate this at all. I used to think that, you know, because I think abortion is murder, that, you know, the government should, you know, if the government has to, you know, if they're there to protect life, then, you know, they would prosecute people for murder. But drawing that out, you know, I just don't think it's a good idea. I don't think that, you know, old white men in some legislature, you know,
like,
Yeah.
Tubbs out of here.
Where do you go after that?
Yeah,
comment?
Tub.
in some, you know, state Congress somewhere
Okay,
has the right to, you know,
Yeah, not yet. He ain't been
intrude
elected to
into-
Congress yet.
Yeah.
you know, intrude into a woman's doctor's office. It just
So, sorry, wasn't trying to cut you off. Keep going.
no, you're fine.
I was just gonna say, like, to add to that, like, I feel like with the Roe v. Wade, and someone correct me in the comments, I'm sure they will, it kind of removed the federal government out of it, and it got it
Right.
closer to your state capital. If you have a problem
Correct.
with your state's laws on abortions now, it's a little bit easier to get a hold of someone, or you know what I mean? Or, well, I'm just saying, like, it's easier for me to drive to Raleigh, and I still don't know if I'm saying that right, being here in North Carolina, or than to drive to DC. I'm not going to get anything accomplished with our federal government. I think we've all learned that.
That's
but
true.
You can probably lobby your state representatives a little better. And I know that term gets thrown around, but that means what I'm trying to say is, like, get their attention and try to change their mind on an issue. It might take some money, it might take some willpower. My point is, this is personal. My wife, I don't know if she wants. We had a couple miscarriages before we had our daughter, but they didn't go more than like so many weeks. But there's a weird law here. Like, had it went so many weeks and it had been like a stillborn or some weird, I don't know. I'm not a lady doctor and I'm not that guy, but you get my point. Like,
lady doctor.
She could have had to deliver.
I'm not a lady doctor.
Yeah,
she could have had to deliver a dead baby with some weird laws.
And that's
here in
dangerous.
North Carolina.
That could kill the mother.
So, like, but my point though is, like, that law isn't an anti-abortion law. That's not even it is super weird. I guess it is. I don't know. It's not anti-abortion. My wife, you know, she's in the medical field. She's got a doctorate. She could explain this better than I can. Let me go get her. Let me go get her real quick. Be like, hey, come down here. But my point is, like, all I know is she was like, well, first of all, it's got a lot to do with the verbiage. And you're right. You got a bunch of old white guys and you're now in your state capital writing laws. And they're not doctors. They're not OBGYNs. They've never delivered a baby like the great Ron Paul, who delivered over 4,000. You know what I mean? But, like, that's the problem is you do have people writing laws. Even now, at least now it's at the state level. That's a little bit better, but it still ain't perfect. Sorry for the rant.
Well, I think as libertarians, our objective is always to limit state power. So, there's two things that I'd like to see done as far as abortion policy. And one doesn't even really have to do with abortion. I want to see a tax policy that allows individuals to keep what they earn so that compassionate and charitable people can have more resources to give to crisis pregnancy centers or help women in need, and help women who truly want to keep and raise their babies. And another one is adoption laws. They're extremely prohibitive. They cause massive expense for families who want to step in the gap and adopt from women who may not be able to keep their children or don't want to keep their children. And so if we advocate at the state level for these, for lower taxes so that we can keep more of what we earn, and for less regulations surrounding adoption, I think this would cause a significant drop in abortion without having the government involved in our personal lives.
So the thing is, the more things that you can get back to the state, guess what people can do? People, they can start choosing which state they want to live in when you get the federal government out of it. So as the states, you start saying, hey, this state is kind of going along. Maybe part of the reason, like, people can move to Florida. They start saying, hey, federal's dipping out. I can start finding the state which gets closer. So my thing for abortion is, clearly I'm against it, but I don't want the government deciding. That's always my thing. Like, I tell people all the time, I says, libertarians, we can disagree on things, but I think the thing that brings us all back together again is not the government. Like, whatever it is, whatever side you lean on in these things, not the government. And so all of this speaks to an issue that I talk about with Christians. So Christians have gotten lazy. Okay, they no longer go out and make disciples. Because if you want to see, you take this topic, if you want to see a change, go make disciples, go make Christians. So what they've done is they've gotten lazy. And so rather than go make disciples, they'd rather go and elect people to go make laws to make people act like Christians. And that doesn't fix anything. And so if we would get it back, and then if we want to see the change, don't rely on government for that change. Let the people go make the change. But we've gotten lazy, not just Christians at this point. We've gotten lazy. We've come to this point where whatever we want to get done, we don't want to put the work behind it. We want to organize and make things change. We want to say, government, do this and enforce this upon everybody. And then I think that's what us as libertarians, that's when we get riled up and go, nope. And so it's not always the popular belief because people don't want to actually do anything. Now, with that, libertarians aren't very great either. We like to sit around and complain and do all the things, and we're like, we hate government and everything, but we're not really doing anything to make the changes.
I mean, I think that's a broad generalization.
Yes.
But I just saw a neat statistic today, actually, online. So somebody was asking about people who are pro-life. Would you adopt a child that needed to be adopted? And I saw that the average, so just straight across the board, 3% of people adopt babies. The evangelical Christians, I believe it's 8%, and Catholics, it's 6%. So, Catholics and other Christians are still, a higher percentage of people who do seek solutions for, their pro-life views. They don't just say, I'm pro-life, don't kill that baby, and then do nothing about it.
Well, see, I'm not trying to be the rabble-rouser here tonight.
The devil's advocate, if you will.
But, and this goes to Amity's point about personal finances. The last I checked, to raise a child from 0 to 18 was close to $1 million here in America. Yeah. When you talk about childcare, I remember when I was looking for childcare for my kids, and now they're 23 and about to be 22. It was $800 a week for both of them.
Holy crap.
So Yeah,
I'm getting a good deal right now.
yeah,
He's
you're getting a great
California
deal.
though. It's California.
Yeah.
Well, it is a nationwide problem. Childcare is
Uh-huh.
prohibitively expensive all over the country.
You're not wrong. When we were
Yeah.
shopping, like it was expensive, and we were like skeptical about at the hospital system my wife works at. They have one for their employees, and that was the only way we could find something that
Reasonably-
seemed reasonable. And it's still
Yeah.
$900 a month, for one child. So it'd double if we had two, but still.
Yeah. And so when you look at those factors, and this should be another libertarian talking point. The Libertarian Party is the only party that is trying to get government, if you want to adopt kids or have kids, it's the only party that's trying to make sure those economic factors are in your favor. The duopoly never in a million years has given a flying flip about the cost that they make businesses incur with the permitting and all of that stuff. And it has to be when these flanks, the pro-life and the pro-choice flanks of the Libertarian Party meet again next time, and if anybody's there that's either listening or on this show, you have to point to those economic factors as the coalescing basis of at the beginning of our conversation. Therefore, we can have a more amicable approach to this tenuous issue. I said all my SAT words tonight. I just want to mention I'm in the 4th largest economy in the world, and my dad was the deacon.
There we go. All right,
so I understand.
You got all your words.
When Marcus is on the game show, does he say that also on the game show?
Yes, and he says vote Libertarian after every answer.
Vote Libertarian.
So, because that's all Marcus does. He spews out the few words that he has. He reminds us that
he's got his talking points. One of those he's paid for by
in the garage.
Yeah. Gavin Newsom's political action committee pays him to say the California economy part.
I get paid $7,000 every time I pump up Gavin Newsom.
Every time he's positive about Israel, right? Anyways,
no, Gavin Newsom. I don't do that one. That's a bridge too far.
Anyways, All right.
Yeah.
So
I'm not trying to be the one to direct the ship by any means, but go ahead, Tub.
No, so Amity, you're actively doing things for pro-life. What else you got going on? It's like, what are you trying? What would you like to see start happening? Since you mentioned about how you're going to be a delegate up at national, what are you looking to see come out of that? Anything in particular? Anything bigger? Anything you're trying to make sure doesn't happen?
Not really. So after the 24 convention, I kind of told myself I was done with party politics. But I believe in the party. I want to see it survive. I think that there's a lot of good people that are trying to, bring the party back together and actually push out good messaging. And I think that it's still a relevant outlet to get messaging out to masses of people through running candidates. And so I just want to make sure that good people get elected into the LNC and we don't have any stupid crap put back into our platform, because I think that there's a lot of disaffected people on both sides of the duopoly who may be looking for a better alternative, especially in the MAGA movement. I mean, there was a lot of people who joined MAGA, who are independents or RFK fans or MAHA, even a lot of libertarians who kind of joined that movement. And now they're seeing that Trump is just as bad as the rest of the duopoly, and they're looking for a place to land. And I just think that there needs to be a place if there's that many people looking for a place to land. So I'm trying to not get too involved in the party politics of the party, but I want to be able to push liberty anywhere I can.
So I'm please, everybody, please forgive me for what I'm about to say. How do we get over the stupid? Because it was stupid to get this guy another chance after he failed miserably, started the shutdowns that the Democrats put on steroids, failed economically. We had empty store shelves because, he thought pouring bleach down people's throat and shining lights in them would get this, gave everybody all these false hopes and was the narrator of Operation Warp Speed for all you Jab fans. And all of a sudden, that's how bad Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were as human beings, not as politicians, as human beings. How bad they were, that Americans were willing to give a absolute failure another shot. It was like, hey, that wasn't so bad after what Joe Biden and possibly Kamala Harris was going to do. That wasn't such a bad deal. I was like, how much worse can it get? He literally stole 2 years from my kids, and while they were in a critical moment in high school that they are never getting back. And I can never forgive that man for that. There's two reasons I don't like using this word. I hate Trump. One, he stole those 2 years from my kids. Two, he eats his steak well done with ketchup.
Oh yeah,
that's a deal breaker.
It's a non-starter right there.
No, we could just cut the tape right there. It's over.
So I think that because what you're saying, Amity, is that so many people are angry with the duopoly. They are really starting to fall. In fact, that's the biggest section now is the NPAs and the independents. It's the growing section of voters now. And so I think that is why our next selection for president and vice president is so important. Because if we can put out two solid messengers that can draw people in when they're angry. Now, this is where I'm going to agree with you in that we're not winning the White House. It's not happening. But I think that we get our two best messengers that can relay the word of liberty that people will actually listen to and not cringe at, because we do have that problem inside the Libertarian Party, that we can get them out there. And then the way that I see it is this. We get them moving, and the whole goal be a great messenger that people are willing to listen, that then give the attention down to the local level. Like I believe that when our president and vice presidential candidates start going around the country doing things, whenever they stop somewhere, they should be looking to grab libertarian candidates 40 or 50 miles within that meeting space and bring them in. So let the messaging of the top two people get some attention. They're not going to vote for them. Let's be very clear. They're not all of a sudden going to go, those libertarians are making sense. But if you can do it effectively and go, hey, here's what libertarians believe. Hey, you have one running for your city council. You have one running. And I think that's the way that we can effectively use the president and vice president to grow where we're really going to make a difference down at the local level. But I think that we have to be very cautious in who we pick for our presidential and vice presidential candidate for that reason. Not because of gaining the White House, but because we really wanted to move down ticket.
Totally agree. And, last November, 2/3 of our candidates who ran as libertarians across the country won their offices. So it's very doable to have local libertarians elected. And I think a strong messenger is absolutely imperative. And we have to be taken seriously as a party again. I think the last 2 to 4 years, 4 years really, has really, I don't know, it's really fractured the party. And I think we can build that back up with the right messengers in the LNC and as candidates.
And I think that who we choose to run the party here at National will set the tone, I think, as we move forward. I think it really does matter because they're spearheading the party. And then what you do is you get your best messengers to prop that up and get moving forward. So I think that whoever takes the chair position has to be somebody that's candidate focused, in all honesty. And they have to have been proven themselves inside of that. And I think that we have a couple individuals in particular that I think that can fit that. Can fit that direction, leading the party.
Hold on,
Marcus. Hold up.
I just have one sentence.
Go ahead.
Tub, say that for next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well.
Oh,
we can talk about
oh,
that
yes. Okay. All right. Yes.
So, Amity, it seems like you weren't happy about or excited about the way the 2024 convention went. Do you think there are some things could have been done better? And two-part question: how do you think Angela McCardle ended it, and Stephen Nikela has done since he's been, I guess, a stopgap because he's not running for chair again. So, but two-part question or
That's
three parts
loaded.
maybe. Yeah. Go
Well,
ahead. Intentional.
so I mean, it's no secret that I was disappointed in the Mises-backed candidate. I was campaigning heavily for Josh Smith. I gave his nomination speech at the convention in 24. And I mean, at the convention, I wasn't, campaigning for Chase, but when I read his platform, I agree with 90% of his platform, maybe even more, 95%. We're very closely aligned on our views. There's a few things that we're not, but once he secured the nomination, as I was, and I was the chair of Congressional District 5 in Virginia, and I was working on ballot access for Chase and helped secure that. I campaigned for him at the state fair that year. I ended up voting for Trump. I know, I was one of those.
Hold on.
Regrettably.
Hold on a second.
You're gonna give me a boo.
You did it. You did it. Minus Bill.
I know.
Well,
I
the
know.
weird part. So, Amity had you said that this time, like last May, people would be like, not terrible. But now, and I feel, look, at one time in my personal life, before I was a libertarian, voted for someone I deeply regret also. So
yeah, I mean, and I've talked to Chase about it. Free and I had lunch with him at the Georgia convention. I've even made a public apology on X to Chase. Yeah, Free.
there you go.
Minus 1,000 for voting for Trump. I know. I had nothing against Chase. Like I said, there were a couple issues that we didn't agree on, but I fell for the campaign promises of no new wars. I was in a state that was purple. Virginia could have gone either way. We were really close. I was hoping for no new wars. Trump promised to free Ross, which he did. I know Marcus is muted because he's laughing so hard.
I feel bad for saying that. Well, not really. But
no,
when I talked about the people that were dumb enough to vote for him a second time, I didn't.
Well,
Marcus,
this was the only time I ever voted for him.
Marcus, for the record, I had an idea, but it wasn't her second time. It was her first time.
Yeah.
Turns out it was the worst time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But I am so anti-war, and I was concerned about, Ukraine continuing and Kamala doing nothing about what was going on in Gaza. And lo and behold, what did we get? Joe Biden 2.0 he bombed 7-8 countries in the first year. Trump did. And it's devastating. I just, every time I think about all the people that are dying overseas, not only, our service members, but the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands that are being genocided all over the Middle East. It's devastating, and it just breaks my heart. And, we're funding that, and I voted for that. I didn't vote for that, but I voted for the candidate who is responsible for that. And it's heartbreaking. I will never believe or vote for a Republican or a Democrat in federal office probably ever again, unless Thomas Massey runs.
Yeah, because you basically voted for John McCain's ghost in 2024.
Exactly.
And we jest, but Amity and I was not expecting you to divulge all of that. But I love your truthful, honest spirit, and you're like, hey, look, I got to repent for this, and I'm being.
Hey, we
I'm
have to
being
learn
serious.
from our mistakes. No?
Yeah, no, and like
And
seriously,
if-
all right. I've never said this publicly, and if I ever run as a Republican, this clip will be used against me. But in 2008, I voted for Obama. But I was getting boo. These guys knew that. I've never said this publicly. It's never been recorded.
Yeah, you swore
anywhere.
us in secrecy. And
Yeah,
if I know you're
but
going to
I'm
spill
gonna
it.
go
make a
so
post.
bad
I'm gonna
for
make a post about it
Amity
right now.
No, seriously.
Oh, so
like,
yeah, so you're trying
listen,
to be chivalrous right now and try to.
I was a 20. Well, I'm like, well, if she can out herself, I can out myself. That's years ago.
Yeah,
And I'm
this is not the
almost certain I'm never going Republican again. But
this is not a safe space. I'm gonna tell you that right
I was
now.
a registered Republican. Voted, you just retweeted it.
Somebody,
I'm gonna post it. I'm about to go post right now. Eric Parker voted for Barack Obama.
So look, Tubbs' wife is mad. Listen,
Yeah.
I was a 19-year-old at the time, 20-year-old at the time, getting deployed to Iraq, and the only candidate that was saying they were going to end the Iraq wars in the general election. I mean, obviously the Libertarian. I didn't know about the Libertarian Party, I guess, but was Obama. McCain was saying, listen, McCain was saying, I want permanent military bases in Iraq. And Obama promised he would end the war in Iraq. So
I hold on. I'm beside myself. I'm so disappointed with 2 out of the 3 other people on here. And by default, I'm always disappointed with Tubb.
Listen, Marcus,
But
we
I'm
know you voted for Obama. Marcus, we know you voted for Obama. Stop pretending.
I gotta share this comment because this woman is a saint. She has a space in heaven reserved next to the throne of God. She's going to be his right-hand woman because what she deals with on a daily basis is beyond comprehension for most civilized people. And she has a
Your
great
wife's
comment.
on here?
Her handle goes by Tubbs' wife. She says, y'all need
I know
to
that
stop
shit.
fighting so hard with each other, chasing off liberty-leading non-libertarians, I hear. Now, that is the thing, and that's what I was saying. How do we overcome people's fears and whatnot to get them, you know, because there's a lot of examples. I don't think we use those examples of the duopoly enough. But I remember talking to some parents on my son's baseball team when Biden was in office, and they were saying they were going to vote for Trump. This was like 2023. They were saying no, it was 2024. They were saying they're going to vote for 23. My bad. They're going to vote for Trump because my 401k looked a lot better when Trump was in office, and I was like taken aback for a second. I was like, the stock market just hit records. And while presidents do have some policies that can affect the stock market and gas prices, for the most part, Wall Street ignores the government, except when they need a favor, and goes by the consumers. And that's what the free market does. It's going out there presenting solutions to people. So how do we communicate that message to these on the fence libertarians, as Tubbs' wife so eloquently put it?
Well,
Amity?
You know, so I'm not a party purist. So I'll encourage people to join the Libertarian Party if they think that's what they want to do. But I mean, I have allies in the RLC. I briefly joined the RLC. I started a chapter in Virginia. I was the chair of the Republican Liberty Caucus in Virginia last year, thinking that my sole goal, not to become a Republican again, but my goal was to infiltrate the GOP with more liberty candidates like Thomas Massey. And I quickly realized that it's not going to work. But God bless them if they want to try. You know, maybe on the state level, maybe they can get some liberty-loving congressional candidates in office in DC. But I advocate for, the things that we want: less government, less taxes, no war, teaching people why we feel this way, and trying to help people see that, like, our greatest ally is actually, like, drawing us into genociding half the world and bringing us into World War III. So I just educate, and I do talk up the Libertarian Party, and if that's where people land, I think that's great. But I'm definitely not a party purist like Marcus is. So
The only real libertarian.
yeah.
Nothing about Marcus is pure. Now, here's
Pure.
the thing. So, all right. So there's two things. One is they're completely unrelated. I went 2 weeks ago, I think it was. I went to the local RLC, Republican Liberty Caucus meeting, and I don't see the liberty in them. Like they were sitting there, they're fully backing Trump on everything. They're full on for the wars. Like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait. Because to be honest with you, I was considering because you can join them. Like, I was considering joining them. And then after going to that meeting, I'm like, they're war hawks for one thing. Like, they have no issue with any of this war stuff. They're fine with it.
It's weird.
Not all of them.
And
Some of them are.
All it really is, to be honest with you, I didn't see the difference between those Republicans and the other Republicans. Like, so I was kind of like, I don't really see a big purpose here, because I was seriously considering about being a part of them. Now, the other unrelated.
I think they're just the pro-gun Republicans in Jacksonville, Tub.
Is that what it is? Like, we
yeah,
didn't just talk about guns.
2A Republicans. Yeah.
It just, well, okay, we'll talk about that later. So so here's the thing I want to tell you, and I think it's a big issue for our party, because Marcus, you talked about it, Amity, you talked about it, and Eric probably somewhere in the rambling got to it also. Was the idea we as libertarians are ruining the party. Let me be very clear. People are not angry with our beliefs. A lot of people, like I say all the time, everybody's libertarian until it's time to vote. Like, Eric knows, we have people here in town. Anytime they see us, I'm basically a libertarian. Okay, dude, whatever. But here's what happens. When we present our ideas, when we do it effectively and well, people are like, yes, they're on board. Like, my wife is a perfect example. She's close enough to go, y'all people ruin it. The constant infighting, you know what I'm saying? It's what we started out talking about. And that, for her, she will never join the Libertarian Party. Listen, I could be the president of the country as a libertarian, and she's going to stay Republican because of all of the other libertarians. And we overlook that. We overlook the idea that, you know what, it might be us turning. It might not be the duopoly for everything. Sometimes it might just be us and the way that we're horribly presenting our ideas. And I think that, once again, brings us back to, and I know we're running out of time, brings us back to good messengers.
I wish you talked like that voice. Basically, I'm libertarian. I wish you talked like that all the time. That was so matching the name Tub.
Listen, I did a podcast earlier.
Oh, what?
And so I've been talking.
You're cheating on us?
No,
cheating.
no,
I'm gonna go leave negative comments.
I did a PCast. I was urinating earlier, and so
anyways,
I don't
who
know
was
if you
it
heard.
with? Was it with Free? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Free's right. I mean, all parties have infighting. Look at Trump versus Massey.
Yeah.
I mean, the parties are like that.
And it's not to our level. Let's be very clear. It is not to our level, because they know when to ultimately circle the wagons. Democrats are the best. They know when to circle the wagons. They know when to come together. I'm telling you right now, nobody. We have not even the leaders.
After the primary. After the primary, that's when they'll circle the wagons. You know what I mean? Like, But that's the thing is, we don't.
And look, we just did it. We just said, once we get our candidate, even if we didn't fully agree, okay, shut up. Let's get to work.
Yeah.
This is what we got. Yeah. But we didn't. You saw the party from top down get completely split open and made it worse. And I'm like, none of the other parties do that. Once they get their candidate, they're done. Okay, this is our guy. We're gonna do everything that we have to make it happen.
That's fact.
You know what I thought about Tub recently is, you know how like each one of these candidates, when they're running to be the nominee for the Libertarian Party before convention, they have a team, and the most well-managed ones what we need is if your guy doesn't win, but you got a better team, and I'm going to say like, hey, Lars Mabstead probably had a pretty good team because he could afford it, if you get my point. Like those people, and with Lars's support, maybe like, hey, look, I'll help out the candidate that wins. Or, like all of us are going to join the team. But what usually happens at that convention, your team loses, and your guys like, we're taking our ball and we're going home, and they don't offer any help to the nominee. Like, I get it. Like Chase, as soon as there was GOP and probably DNC funding for the smear campaign for Chase. The day after he got the nomination, some people I follow on social media that call themselves the anarchists, the really short guy that spoke at the Tom Woods thing that's always on the Joe Rogan podcast. You know what I'm talking about. He literally had like a bunch of cringe social media photos of Chase and was like, this is the libertarian candidate. You know what I mean? Like the day after, you think a random guy on Twitter with a big following knows who Chase is? No, the opposition had that research already.
They had it in the chamber.
Well, and had it been Rectenwald, they'd have been like, hey, he said some anti-Semitic stuff. Had it been Josh Smith, they'd be like, hey, he said some stuff on some podcast. Had it been Lars Matson, they'd be like, hey, he made his money off of porn. You know what I mean? Like that would have been the smear campaigns. And some of that was coming up in the run-up to national convention on all of these people, but it wasn't like a big deal. But the day after Chase was the nominee, like not everyone, but a lot of voices in social media had the opposition research handed to them and were told and paid to say, hey, share this. That's basically.
Yeah, well, I remember we had on Chase for an after action report on his campaign, and that was one of the things we talked about because it was like it was queued up. They had something for everybody queued up, and that's the political
Mike
machine.
Trematt and the whole his whole thing when he was a cop and using gosh dang it, you know what I'm talking
qualified
about.
immunity.
All that qualified immunity.
Yeah. Like all that was like ready to go. Like
that's what the political machine of the duopoly does. I don't know if the libertarians want to emulate that process because that's not a liberty-minded process. That is fear-mongering because politics used to be about the best ideas. And that's what the Libertarian Party needs to focus on is the best ideas. And you guys keep talking about the messenger as far as the next federal candidates go. I mean, if you guys want me to run, just say so.
No, we want to do that. We've been saying
I'm the best messenger.
Yeah, good
Why
messenger.
You don't listen? You're not even a good listener. We've been saying a good messenger.
Politicians are never good listeners. It's never about listening when you're a politician.
Marcus, good politicians are good liars, so maybe you're in there.
Oh, you know what? Maybe we do have
they're going to hate me. But I wanted to point out because we talked about how the duopoly circles the wagon. When Nancy Pelosi was still House Speaker, I think she had a 2 or 3 vote margin of majority. Listen, never had one issue. She didn't.
People don't want to tell you. She was among the best Speaker of the House in most recent times. Because not because we like what she was doing, but dude, she kept them in line.
Nobody stepped out of line. And I will give Republicans this much credit because there's a few of them that stand on principles. Everybody knows who I'm talking about, the guy from Kentucky that's getting primaried by outside money that has probably never stepped foot in Kentucky whatsoever. You know who I'm talking about.
Now,
but
let me add to that real quick. I'm so tired, and it happens a lot inside the Republicans. Democrats do some. They say primary like it's a horrible thing. Everybody should always have to earn their spot.
Absolutely.
They should always be faced with somebody. Like we were just having a thing here, and listen, I will always sign somebody's candidate petition. I don't care. We need more people on the ballot. Okay, like I signed petitions for people who are running against me. I don't care. Bring them in. And so they always say this, like, where they're going to listen. clearly I like Thomas Massey, but you know what? He shouldn't get a free ride. He shouldn't get a free pass. Run somebody.
That should be everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
But also,
Everybody.
don't let the establishment run someone and give $10 million towards his opponent. And that's the part where I think the constituents there are smart enough to recognize, hey, the guy that his vote percentages actually went up every election is doing a good job. I trust the people, and I think it's District 4, wherever of Kentucky, to vote. You know what I mean?
Daniel's in the chat.
I want to ask a real question.
I was going to say, I think Daniel was in Kentucky at one point in the chat. Sorry.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
No, go ahead. I'd rather hear you than Tub.
Hey, Kentuckian, respond in the comments quickly. Anyways, but that's my thing is like, I hear you, Tub. Like, yeah, you should never the problem is like Thomas Massey has ran opposed. He was primaried maybe every other
time.
maybe
he does
every
just
time.
fine. He does just fine.
Yeah, but that was before there was $10 million.
Now let me ask about
his opponent.
This is a real question. Okay, I want real answers, and I know we're like out of time. You ready? Here's a real question. So, like Eric just said, they're running all of that money into that race. Okay, and the people there probably know better. Okay, why all the money? Well, like because everybody knows who Thomas Massey is. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So I don't understand why is there so much, not just in that race, I'll make it very clear. Why so much money in these races where everybody knows who he is, everybody knows what's going on, it's getting plenty of attention. Why do we keep putting money into it?
Money laundering.
Okay. Yeah, that's part of it.
Seriously.
How many voters are in that district?
In Jacksonville, one of the biggest sign-making companies or card-making companies that all the Republicans used was owned by a Republican Party member. That's one example. Just throw that out there. Tub, look it up. Reach out to the people that you know that I know. They'll tell you what company I'm talking about. But I'm just saying, like money laundering. Literally, it's like, look, you got to have signs. You got to have mailers. Guess what? I sell signs and mailers. Weird, huh? Anyways.
So, Amity, as we start to wrap this up, what do you want to tell America about the Libertarian Party?
That's a good question.
Ooh, after this episode, nothing.
You know what? So Free and I have been to several state conventions with his show, Are You Smarter Than a Politician? Yeah. And we've been to Virginia, Georgia, Florida, California. We got to see Marcus there. I can hear
North Carolina. Tubbs watching you on his phone.
He's watching
I'm going to make a comment on Twitter.
Mute your phone, please.
There we go. We're good.
Okay. So
that
anyway,
was a boomer move.
We've been all over the country. Last week, we were in North Carolina. Fabulous convention. California, top notch. All the conventions were great. We're meeting amazing people all over the country. People are locally working. They're putting in the work, and they want the things that, we preach about online all the time. So, Tub,
I'm sorry.
Everybody that wants to change the party, instead of just bitching online all the time about it, go to your state convention and become a delegate. Go to national, make a difference. If you don't like who is running the party, throw your hat in the ring, do the work. So, that's all I think we should do, is like those of us who want to see change, what's the saying? Be the change you wish to see in the world. Be the change you wish to see in the party. I think the more good people get involved, the better it'll be.
Amity for chair? I'm just kidding.
No.
What? She's not coming on the LNC chair debate show next week?
Come on, Amity.
Oh, okay.
All right. Just wanted to
No,
make
there's some great people running, and I haven't endorsed anybody, but there's some really amazing, top-notch people, and I think the party's going in a great direction, and we have, a few people to choose from that I think will take the party, in the direction it's going. Stephen Nikella has done an amazing job.
Shout out,
in
shout out to Steven.
in the
He
time
is
that
awesome.
he's been chair, and I love the direction that he's taken the party. And I think there's some worthy candidates that can keep the momentum going.
I agree.
I concur. Tub, do you concur?
Sure, why not? Yeah, actually, I
Yeah.
like Steven a lot. Like he did good things when he was down here in Florida. He just continue at the national level. I've been harassing him about why he wouldn't want to run, but he's got life.
Yeah.
He's, the Tub always has this point. We get frustrated when we see these super young, super successful people.
I hate that guy. I hate
Yeah.
Steven Nikella.
Yeah.
I
It
don't
We
know.
got a lot of jealousy.
Like
Like,
I,
what
I,
I do
I,
wrong?
talk to him, and I hate myself, and I hate the way I raise my kids. Like I feel like I just failed at everything. I just
Like,
Wow.
what was it? 2024. Nikayla came out to our convention here in California, and he comes out and plops next to me at the fancy dinner thing, and I'm like, I'm wearing my classic Adidas suit because they, you got to wear a suit to these things, so I wear a suit.
because black man.
Yeah, and he
Wet
young
suit.
slick guy comes in his fancy suit talking about how many Wendy's or Carl's Jr. whatever the hell it was. Wendy's. Yeah, how many? Oh, my Wendy's. I was like, I'm the fake
Gotcha.
smile. I'm just like, Marcus,
hate
you
you.
suck.
You're like,
No, it was
That's
self-reflection.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm-
man, you suck.
I
dude."
tell him
Like,
every
say-
time. I said, Steven, every time I talk to you, I feel like I'm just failing in life.
Yeah.
I feel like
I'm
I'm
just
not
like-
accomplishing anything.
Good
Well, he
thing
just
is
had a
Marcus-
birthday, and I think he's only like 32.
32.
Or
I think he's
33
32 or 33.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
I just like I said, I have failed the next generation. I failed my boys. My boys are just younger than him. And I'm like, I keep failing. So now hopefully I can do better with my grandkids.
Wait, hold on. How the hell is a
Does he
what
mean
is-
Kango or does he mean
He put
Kangaroo
kangaroo,
gas
like
station.
the
He's still
convenience
mad.
store. He had a convenience store. It had pictures of little roller hot dogs on it and everything.
yeah?
Free is still
Slurpee
mad because
machines.
I said I would trade him for a bag of dirt rocks.
Listen,
I think a kangaroo tracksuit's worth more than that. But I don't know.
1,000 points to free for saying
wow.
that you have a kangaroo suit.
I'm
right.
using. Well, anyway. So
Anyway.
Amity, do you have any closing remarks that you want to say to America as we start to wrap this up? No. Okay. We'll pass on.
Well, Amity was great.
I was thinking.
We're used to doing this
No.
for candidates. Any candidates you want to plug for people to go look at?
If you're in KY4, then you better go out and vote in the primary for Thomas Massey. If you're not, you can still donate to his campaign. As far as LNC, I know that we have Rob Yates, Evan McMahon, Wes Benedict, and Jim Ostrowski, who have thrown their hat in the ring for LNC. I've met all of them at various state conventions. And if you're going to be a delegate, then find their debates online. Free has done a few on his platform, and there's been some others that have done debates. And really, get involved. If you want to be involved and you want to see change in the party, then actually do something. That's it. And follow me.
Where do they find you at on social medias and all that good stuff as well?
Yeah, I'm on X, cyberbullying the government all the time at Amity Lead 13.
Awesome.
Tub, I forgot to tell her about putting her backstage at the final segment.
So just close it out. Let her stay.
Okay,
Close it
fine.
out. Hey,
Well, we're gonna go to you guys'
if you wanna
final
hang out for a
comments.
little bit, you can.
Yeah, Eric, what do you
Yeah, we'll
got?
hang out.
Nothing. Thanks for coming and hanging out. I really got to pee. See.
He muted himself before he finished that. I really got
I personally appreciate him muting and getting off camera if he needed to go relieve himself. I think that was a very polite thing to do.
Because usually I'll just go right into that door right there and just
you know, you've done it on camera before. Tub, what do you got for Amity and the Libertarian Party?
All right. Hey, it's good to talk to you again. We saw each other. Of course, we see each other down here at state stuff, and I guess I'll see you up at national also. And listen, let that guy come with you. We'll deal with him for we'll deal with him for a few minutes.
Yeah, he's fun.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank
you for coming on. So
Marcus.
no, I want to thank you because it was such a blast. I was having dinner with my daughter in this little weird Gilligan's Island like restaurant, and I'm looking out the window and I see two people that I've seen online walk past, and I just tapped on the window. I was like, hey, and that's where I finally got to be, Amity is a very beautiful woman in real life. Beautiful on this cyberspace. I was just like free. I was like, is that you? And they were very cordial and very nice, and we got to hang out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning, and it was awesome seeing people that you see in the cyber realm in real life. I can't wait to hug Tub and Eric in real life. I'm just gonna wrap my arms around them and bear hug them in every literal sense of that term.
Yeah. Well, the thing
he gives great advice.
We won't have to worry about that because you don't leave the garage and you don't go to national convention. So
I will be in El Paso. I will be in El Paso.
What's
I guarantee
El Paso?
That's what's going to be.
Is that 28? That's 28's convention.
28.
Yeah,
I've been there before.
Mobilized. I was kind of shocked because
out of there.
El Paso, you might want to go back to the COVID years where you have a mask because it's pretty dusty there. I mean, it is dry. El Paso for me is a pass-through town on my way to something more spectacular like Dallas or
big pass-through town.
Hey, my son just made a comment. You should put it up there.
Which one is that?
My mom's.
Oh, there you go. Dylan,
she is.
Music.
Yeah, that's my baby.
We tell
we
really
do.
Because my son
every time we're anywhere, we tell
to
him
make fun of me.
Well, everybody.
Every
does
time
that.
we go somewhere, we tell them about y'all's podcast.
Well, thank you very much. I truly
promotes
appreciate
it like every show.
He's like, my show's okay, but you really need to check out the Black Powder podcast.
Now, Free, we had some in-depth talks, and that guy, I'm still learning things about this process, and I'm very fortunate to have two great hosts on this show with Eric and Tub that make this a lot easier for me because they bring a individual element. My whole goal, and I said this before, was this show to be like the Wu-Tang Clan because you have multiple personalities that come together and made this phenomenal.
Like Voltron.
Yeah, just like Voltron.
Cali, North Carolina.
Yeah. And that's why we
Florida.
need to build up the Wu-Tang Clan caucus of the Libertarian Party because it is something where all these personalities can come together and bring a voice to the Libertarian Party that is culturally significant.
If you can get Eric and I to join the Wu-Tang Caucus, you'll triple in size.
That is true.
For the record, if you will officially found said caucus, I'll join it. I'll be the vice chair. Let's do it.
I'll volunteer for nothing.
Well,
are white girls allowed to join?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
But hey, there's a French Vanilla, that one song "Ice Cream" by Raekwon.
I'm gonna have to go look up the lyrics.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And to this
neck,
comment, Dallas and El Paso are 15 hours. I was born in Dallas. I'm a native Texan, so we used to go back
from
there.
Everywhere. Like,
yeah.
I'm a native Alabamian.
Yeah,
no, my parents are from Alabama.
All right, can you get us out of here, please?
All right.
Yeah. So next week, we're gonna have a debate on the Black Powder podcast, and we're reaching out to the last candidate that's running out for LNC. We have 3 of the 4 locked in for next week. So we're going to have a candidate forum here on the Black Powder podcast that we're very excited to present. I want to thank our guest tonight from the bottom of my heart, Amity, because this was a very nice episode. We took a break away from the candidates. We still say put your money where your memes are in supporting candidates, but it's nice to exactly. Speaking of candidates, we have one here, Tub for 10, running for District 10 in the city of Jacksonville, Florida. Please go to Tub for what's the website, Tub?
Tubforliberty.com.
Tub for Liberty, and donate a few bucks and help a brother out. Or many few, yeah.
Many few.
So we can get a libertarian in office and show people how libertarians can govern by leaving the government out of your life. And that's the main thing the Libertarian Party needs to focus on, not any social issues, not the culture wars. That's not our lane. And that's not the government's lane to be in your life telling you that everything should be a local issue. And that's where you have the power more so than the federal elections to determine the path of your government.
And with that said,
yeah.
Listen, I thought we were wrapping this up 8 minutes ago.
I'm getting a wrap it up box.
Yeah.
All right.
Wrap it up, B. Amity is the definition of base. She disagrees with class and is not afraid to show some sass. Dang, this guy's on here flowing. Yeah, he's over here busting rhymes on us, dude. I didn't know this was a battle.
He's got bars.
Cool.
You got bars.
All right, Marcus.
All right.
All right, Marcus.
Yeah. Thank you very much to everybody that watched, listened, whatever you did. This has been the Black Powder Podcast. As we say when we close this out, live free
or die.
Or die.